Welcome back to Section 2, Ordering Decimals. Here we have a couple of sets of decimals that we need to order from least to greatest. Now if I look at the first set, I see that some of the decimals go to the tenths place while another one goes to the thousandths place. So the first thing I'm going to do is add zeros so that they all have the same number of decimal places. This is helpful when comparing place value. So it would look like this. So now looking at the decimals, I see that they all start with 0.2. So in order to compare, I'm going to look at the hundredths place. One has a 3, I have a couple of decimals there with 2's, and then I have a 0 and a 6. So I'm looking for the least one, that would be here. Then 2 will come next. Now I have 2 with 2's. So in that case, we need to look at the thousandths place. Now between a 0 and a 4, 0 will come next, and then it'll be the 4. Then we can go back to looking at the hundredths place. I have a 3 and I have a 6. So 3 would be next, and 0.26 would be the largest. Now when I go to write my numbers from least to greatest, you always write the original list. So I would write 0.2 first, then 0.22, 0.224, then 0.23, and then 0.26. So look like this. Now let's do the same thing for the second set. To start, I'm just going to add on a 0 to the 8, 5.80. Now if I look at the ones place, I see that 3 of the numbers start with 5, and one of the numbers starts with 6. So between all of these, 6.05 is going to be the greatest. That will be at the end. So now just focus on the 3 values that start with 5. If I look at the tenths place, I'll see that 4 is the least, then it would be the 7, then the 8, and like I said, the 6.05 would be at the end. So now rewriting that list in order would look like this. Now for the next example, we're given a list that's already ordered from greatest to least, and we have to determine if it's done correctly. So I see that they all start with 7, so let's move on to the tenths place. I have 9, 6, 8, 4, and 5. So the largest one is 9, so that is correct. But then 8 will come next, so that's not right. 7.82 needs to be moved in front of 7.607. Then if I look at the last two numbers, I have a 4 and a 5. The 5 should come before the 7.42. So I'm going to say, no, the ordering is not correct. It should be 7.901, then 7.82, then 7.607, 7.5, and lastly 7.42. Now, a common mistake in ordering is thinking that if you have more decimal places, then that means the number is larger. But we got to be careful and always compare place value. So that's the end of our video on comparing decimals. You can now proceed to the next video in this lesson.